Awesome. Hey guys, I'm excited to do another one of these. We're doing these weekly live chats. So if you guys are joining us in the MagMod community, it's a little after 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I actually get to be here today with Seth Kerechanin. Seth, how you doing, man?
Great, Trevor. Thanks for having me. This is awesome. Nice to talk to you and to the
Yeah.
MagMod community. Yeah, awesome.
Hey, we're just getting our quota of man beards in, is what we're trying to do here.
This is my first beard, so I tell everyone we're all experiencing this together. So let's see how
That's
it plays
awesome.
out. Yep.
Do you normally not? But you normally have facial
I mean,
hair,
a
right?
little bit,
This
yeah. But
is
a
okay.
year ago, I had just a little stubble. So this is just all like my kids, my wife, my family. We're all getting used to it. So we'll see how this plays
Nice,
out.
nice. How long do you plan on keeping it, or are you going to kind of trim it from there? Or are you
Um,
gonna you grow it out?
yeah, I'm moving toward a wizard phase. So if I don't want to go toward like a Greek god wizard, so I'm gonna maybe just pin it back a little bit. So.
Oh man, I want to see the Seth the Wizard. I say just go for it.
But yeah, we'll
YOLO,
see.
man.
Nice.
No, that's awesome. Well, Seth, I'm super stoked to have you here. For those who are wondering who this wizard is, Seth is the guy that you see. Every time I see a composite type shot, like a photo of a group shot with MagMod in the community, I'm always like, oh, that's Seth. Or for those who tuned in last week, it's funny. I'll have certain shots where I'll say, oh, I want to do this on a wedding day. And I'll kind of name it after somebody. I'll be like, oh, I'm going to do the Dan Douster shot or the Keith Lee shot, the Jason Marino shot. My shot for you, Seth, is the group composites. Every time I want to do one of those, I'm like, I got to do the Seth shot. So,
Yeah.
so I'm excited to have you here so people can kind of get an idea of what that is and learn from it. So, like I said, if you guys are catching us live, feel free to ask questions. If you're catching this on YouTube afterwards, feel free to post comments on the YouTube thread as well. Guys, give us some likes, give us some love, give us some comments, things like that, so we can work with everybody here together. So. Seth, tell us where you're from, man. Where do you work out of?
So yeah, my wife and I, Seth and Beth, people think that's a fake name. It's real. We've been married a long time now, 14 years. We're in Columbus, Ohio, and we've been shooting weddings for about 6 years now. I like to say somewhere around like 150 weddings. And
Nice.
yeah, so I caught on to MagMod very early when the first sort of adapters came out. And I was really in love with the control I had. And so, yeah, we are sort of been known for some of our more famous techie shots are the composite shots.
Uh-huh.
And I was inspired years ago, maybe 2012 or 13, by Ryan Brenizer in New York. He doesn't know me. I wish we were besties, but we're not. But but I saw him try this. I saw him do a composite shot and I was really interested about it. And so I've always been into the composites and really controlling light and so yeah, so that's sort of what we're known for, and we're trying not to wear it out, but we like to see when folks give their take on composite shots. So
That's awesome. No, that's really cool. So what is your website? How can people find you?
yeah, so our website's very simple, sethandbeth.com, sethandbeth.com, and we're on Facebook under Seth and Beth, and on Instagram under Seth and Beth Photo. Yep. So
Very cool. Excellent. Well, thanks again so much for being here. And we're going to jump right into this because I know you have some really cool behind the scenes and just kind of be able to see how you're actually doing this stuff. So again, if you guys are interested in how to do, real good light control and composites, this is definitely an episode you want to check out. So with that, Seth, let's jump right in. There's a shot that I know a lot of people have seen. It's on the MagMod Facebook page, or excuse me, on the MagMod page. They've seen it if they've gone to any of our trade shows and so forth. It's one where you have some guys on a pool table. It's a composite shot. Can you share your screen? Oh, you're ahead of me already. Can you show us a little bit about how you did that?
Sure.
Yeah, this
How's this
one.
look, Trevor? Yeah,
That
perfect.
looks amazing. I love that shot. Tell us about
Yeah,
it.
so great. So this groom was a friend of mine, and we reconnected years later. But regardless, we had some extra time. This is a barn house out in the middle of nowhere, and
Mhm.
normally composites take time, patience, and you have to have a really great group. And so, this is hours into the wedding, and all the guys were on our sides. We walk into the day knowing all their names. We start calling them by their names early on. So when you can get folks on your side quicker, you can get them to really try some what they would think is really, really abnormal photography. This is definitely not. As you're doing it, there's a lot of puzzled looks around the room, and they don't really know what's going on, and then you post it like later, and they start commenting on it and messaging you on how cool it is. So this is the end result of what we did. The room looks, I mean, pretty much nothing like this. This is a pretty heavy edit, and so the original photo looks, the photo looks nothing like this. But in general, we're in love with the Mag Grid. This is our main component that we use for some of our more, like I said, techie style photos. And the light control that we get with that thing hasn't been matched with anything else I've ever tried. And so this photo certainly could not occur without that control. And so yeah, this is sort of the end result. And then I have this. I've posted this before, but this sort of shows how this photo was done. So in general, our composite shots are taken with a tripoded camera. Obviously, we can't move the camera because and neither can the subjects move too much. But obviously, the light source is moving around all over the room. So I started over. I don't know if you can see my mouse, Trevor. Can you see this?
Yep, we can.
I started over here with this guy, so you can see a gridded flash is just handheld, and it's being triggered on camera. You know, and we set this as something like f8, and we tune it way down. So this photo, the exposure on this photo that you're seeing right now, as opposed to the finished product, is pulled way up so you can see what's going on. But in general, I like to pose the guys. I tell them what's going to happen, and then I walk through the scene as my wife clicks the camera, basically clicks the shutter.
Yeah.
So we illuminate this guy, and we go right down the line. So I sort of weasel my way through all of these guys, and then illuminate the second groomsman. And then this third one is this flash over here. This guy, I liked how he was bending down shooting. So here I am sort of like at the groom's butt level, illuminating him. And this guy's coming from off camera, I think, or maybe I left one photo out to show, you know, where, and then, and of course the groom, I made him camera aware just because I thought we got to separate him from the group. So when you mix the two, you end up getting something like this. So there's a lot of dodging and burning, and a lot of maneuvering with in Photoshop and Lightroom. And but yeah, like I used this last pop of light just to highlight where we're at, because in this photo, obviously without light on the pool table, there wouldn't be much here. So it's a lot of fidgeting. It's a lot of pretty I wouldn't say advanced editing, but when it comes out, the guys just feel really special. And a lot of times, you know, the guys, I think our groomsmen are sort of left out of weddings sometimes. You know, it's all about obviously the bride, which of course that's great. And the girls, you know, they get ready for 5 hours, they have flowers, they have people waiting on them. And the guys are just sort of like waiting in a cage in the basement, trying not to drink too much. So I really like making the guys feel good. And if I can get, I mean, we have brides on our side, but if I can get grooms who love us as well, then it's a double win. So yeah, that's the story. I don't know if I'm trailing on, Trevor. Stop me.
No.
Any questions popping up?
You know, you're doing great. I think you mentioned a few important things that are worth repeating, and one of them was learning all the guys' names. You know, I put a big emphasis on that when I'm shooting bridal parties. I always want to learn everybody's name when I can. You know, again, you don't have to store it in long-term memory, but just put it in your short-term memory so you can call these people by their name, because there's a great book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And people, you're their friend the moment you say their name, basically. And so it's one of those things. I think it's also worth noting that your wizard skills came into play here, because it looks like you're in this shot 6 times. So somehow you replicated yourself.
Right. I'm very fast. So yeah, this was an Inception photo, like Dreams on Dreams, because it's a composite of a composite shot. So go figure. I thought it'd be fun to edit. But yeah, and you can see the beard is very low. This was like a year and a half ago. So not as cool for sure. So
pre-wizard days. No, the other thing I think is worth mentioning here is that, you know, some people might say, well, why not just shoot this with regular light and then go in and edit later and burn and dodge and so forth. But you can't do that unless you've actually, you know, shot it with the light positioned a certain way, because those patterns on the face and stuff. I mean, again, let's use the word wizard one more time here. Maybe a wizard in Photoshop might be able to do something crazy with it, but really those light patterns and replicating that, and I mean, this is the way to do it. It's just
you know,
composite.
Yeah, I think these style photos would be impossible trying to shoot them with just one huge light source. I've been a huge fan. I tell like some of our followers, like my favorite lighting is when we have camera coming from one direction, and then like I am right now, is like
Yep.
my back cheek is being illuminated by light. It's like classic backlighting
Yeah.
and or sort of side lighting,
Or
following
short
shadows
lighting.
down the
Yeah.
nose. Yeah, short lighting for sure. So
Hmm.
like I can't do it all the time, but I definitely try and light a lot of my toasting subjects and a lot of portraits. I like to do that side light. So yeah, with the gridded flash, we can control exactly how each person can look really, really awesome in each photo. So yeah,
That's it.
so no, I don't know
That's a
how this
great
can be
tip.
done. Yep. So I can certainly show, I think Trevor, we mentioned we might want to talk about some more of these photos. So I can certainly dig up some other ones that are pretty interesting, or at least have a similar look. These guys,
Yeah.
this is the same style photo. These guys had no clue what was going on. There was like 20 people behind me. They're yucking it up. They're having drinks, and again, when you're doing it, it looks very strange. They don't know what. They just assume because every other photographer just always pressed a button. But
Hmm.
so we're running around the room lighting them up, and the room did not look half this cool. I mean, it was a lit up. There's like toilets behind me, like it's all lit up, and so we just tune in our camera settings to darken it down, and then we light these folks as they walk around the room with really, really cool, like dramatic Godfather, like Italian mafioso style lighting. So
That's
yeah,
so
so
rad. If you want some good marketing, man, do a shot like this for the guys, and you're guaranteed to have that on their Facebook cover for the next 3 years, just
that's
because
what
they
I'm
put it up
saying.
there and they never change it, right? So
Yeah, and so I have other examples. The cool part about these, I don't think I mean, for me, the edits are not that crazy to edit these photos. I mean, I don't know if like I said, I don't know if I'm a Photoshop god at all. I'm a layperson. I'm just normal. But like I could totally walk through one of these edits if you'd like to see.
I think people would really enjoy that. And again, guys, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to ask those. But I think, Seth, if you don't mind, I think people would enjoy just kind of seeing maybe what it looks like at a camera, which
Sure.
essentially is like, when photographers expose themselves, right? We're putting ourselves out there, but kind of see what it looks like at a camera, and then see, that way they can go, okay, I can do that, and now I have the pieces to put that puzzle together. So yeah, I mean, this
Yeah.
is this is an amazing one, man. This group shot here, I love
Yeah, so
that.
this was taken just a month ago. It's in a beautiful ballroom, a very classic old style historical ballroom here in Columbus, Ohio, and I can certainly show. Obviously, I know most folks are pretty scared about showing their screen and then and the good parts and the bad parts, but here you go, guys. I guess I go to a lot of workshops. I learn from a lot of people, and I'm always amazed. I guess most people end up being amazed when they see that, oh, these famous photographers, not that I'm famous, but other famous, it all comes out of all of our cameras the same way, and sometimes it can
Hmm.
totally look like crap. So this photo off the get-go looks like our first photo looks something like this. So I
Hmm.
didn't even really, again, we're under pressure.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, and I certainly did not nail this photo right off the bat. This is what it looks like in real life.
Yeah.
There's like crap on the floor. I think my tripod was my tripod was tilted because I set it up too fast.
You got a
So
Dutch angle going on. That's all
yeah,
right.
for sure. It's a beautiful, yeah, artistic angle. But anyway, this is what they're doing. I've given them a pep talk as to how to look.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're still confused, but we take multiple photos of each one, and I pull over a first photo like this. So not blowing out our subject all the way on the right, is I basically start all the way on the right and sort of just use the MagMod where I think I'm right off camera,
Uh-huh.
just illuminating our first couple, and then I have them step out, and I go right down the line. Oh, here I am. So this one's a little bit better. So Beth's on camera, and here I am with
Mhm.
wearing the money maker and got the gridded flash, and so I can get my light perfectly on this couple. And then I go
Nice.
right down the line like so. They step out and I move around. The fun part is you can light people from two different ways. Like a
Uh-huh.
single point light source would never be able to do this. So I can
Yeah.
light people from two different directions, and the viewer would never really know. I mean, photographers might, but it just gives a really rad sort of surreal look to it. So yeah, I go
Yeah.
right down the
Something different.
line. Yep, I hit up the bride and groom like so. Here I am again over here,
Uh-huh.
and just go right down the line. And then, Trevor, do you think I should walk through this? And I mean, I could walk through this in Photoshop, but I hate to drag folks down. But regardless, why don't I do it with just a couple photos?
Okay.
So yeah, this would be
Yeah, you
really
can show
easy.
them how. Are you talking about how to layer and mask it?
Yeah,
Is that what you're thinking?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
maybe if
yeah.
you just give
So
us like a bumper sticker version of it, you know what I mean? Something short version. I think people would appreciate that for sure.
yeah, so this is oops, sorry, let me get out of here. This is sort of the edit that I did. I wanted this to be a black and white photo.
Hmm.
And so I would take all of them and stack them in Photoshop, but I edit and I open as layers in Photoshop, and then of course now it's going to it's gonna drag on. I see. Here we go, Trevor. Here we go.
No. I
Gonna,
think, like I said, Seth, I think the biggest thing, in fact, it's funny because I just shot a wedding out in Houston not too long ago. And one of the shots we did was a composite shot. I did it with the guys as well. It was the whole wedding was indoors. So we didn't get to go outdoors at all. And I thought, because I take MagMod with me everywhere and I don't have large, big lights. And I thought, I'm going to do a couple of these composites, Seth style. And so I did it with the groomsmen as well as with the family did a family portrait that way. I told them, I said, hey, we're gonna do kind of like a magazine cover, GQ-ish,
yeah.
cool looking. And so I did it with them as well. So I think people appreciate it. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about it.
It's funny you bring that up. I guess using MagMod and like getting some cool stuff out of the products has really turned us into low light, dark photographers. I would rather, like when a bride says to me, I'm getting married in the winter, I'm like, fantastic. We can now do so much stuff in basements, in locker rooms. I've taken portraits of people, literally they're sitting on a toilet because that's a dark spot and I can control the light. So last year we did 5 weddings in January and February. And this year we've already done 3 weddings in January. So
Nice.
I think folks are now noticing that we don't need, especially in Ohio, we get about 3 hours of sunlight in the summertime. But we're sort of like getting very lucky, getting a lot of winter weddings, and it's filling up sort of that money we might not normally get in sort of the winter months. So anyway,
Love it.
So here I have the photos. Let me get off this mask real quick, actually, real quick, guys. So I just highlight all the photos. There would probably be 8 or 9 shots. I like to use the simple edit auto align photos, and this will just auto align the layers. And it'll just take into account a little bit of tilt, so you can see it's already done it. And again, when you push the camera on the tripod, it just might move a little bit. And then all I simply do, you could mask these, but I just go to the top photo. I just go to the very top photo. Close out this stuff, sorry. And I just grab a simple eraser, and you can see it's just basically like this. I mean, I just erase out like that, and the bottom layer comes through. I mean, it's
Nice.
really no harder. Sometimes if the folks get tight, you got to fiddle with it a little bit, but that's it. I mean, and then I just flatten and keep going. So I've even done these during same day edits during my 45-minute dinner break, and people these photos come up. And just like you can hear a crowd roar of the people around. So I've even done these, like I said, people have come to me and said, what huge light should I buy? I need a pro photo. I need an Elechrome. And I said, look, this photo is in blinding 1 o'clock sunlight. And I'm not even using the mag beam. It's just a gridded flash at 1-to-1 power and a tripod. And you even make this little like 9-year-old kid look really awesome. So,
Good.
So yeah,
seriously, Seth, you kick butt with these types of images. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And guys, if you are trying this for the first time, it's not. I'm glad you showed those raw images, those flat camera, because when you do it, you think to yourself, man, mine doesn't look anything like, Seth's, but you have to realize that you're just making one piece to that puzzle, and then when you put it all together, and it's funny, I did one of these as well. It was also for a same day slideshow, but we did a quick composite. Oh man, I'm trying to think of the album. I think it's Death Row Records or something. You remember that old rap album where it had just the faces in the dark, like Tupac and
yeah.
I wish I knew my rap history better. But I did that with the groomsmen were talking about it where they're getting ready, and they're joking about the album cover and so forth. And I said, dude, we got to do that. So we actually did the same thing. We shot each one of them with one light, and then I put it together during the same day slideshow in the evening, and I put it in their slideshow. And every time that photo came up, it was like people were just roaring, laughing. Of course, the old people are looking at it going like, "What is this?" But it was like each one was like at 5 in a circle, with one in the middle, and the groomsmen in the middle, and it was pretty cool, man. It was a lot of fun. So these composites are a blast.
Yeah, like I've noticed when I start, people always say show what you want to shoot, So the more I show this stuff, it's nice. I end up getting clients and they say, I don't want to shoot anything normal. Like I want you to come up with the craziest stuff you can. And so now our sessions, like I used to, last wedding, I didn't shoot any like standard groomsmen photos where they're just looking at the camera like every other wedding. I just end up doing a lot of cool stuff with long exposures and composites. So yeah, it's been working for us. We love it. So
That's awesome. That's really cool, Seth. Hey, some of the comments that were popping up, and I missed these. I didn't see these come up earlier. But you got people saying good morning, bearded wizardry, go full ZZ Top. There's, um, let's
Wow.
see, Fundy Booth Friend.
Yes.
Oh, they were asking if you used a tripod or do you do this handhold, these composites? I think you had
So
mentioned tripod, right?
yeah, so if I'm gonna do, I've done I've hand holded. What am I saying? I've done handheld composites, and I
Huh?
restrict it to two photos. So if I can sit still for like 2 photos while my wife runs around a little bit, then
Yeah.
I'll do handheld, and usually I'll go wide, so I have a little variance on sort of the tilt if I mess up, which inevitably you will. So yeah, I've used a tripod, and then when I have forgotten my tripod, I've just spun my camera on a light stand or even used a table. So
Yep.
not, obviously not everything's perfect. I've done some composites and they were total mess ups because I forgot my tripod and had to use something different. But yes, tripod certainly helps. So
Yeah, the tripod, I think where it really helps is being able to align those backdrops and making sure that when you erase one, it fits in with the other one really nice.
yeah,
Like you, when I didn't have my tripod in Houston, I just put my camera right on top of a couch and just held it there really still. Just as long as you don't move too much, it should work out. Is
yeah.
there any other tips before we go on to some of these other amazing photographs? Is there any other tips that you would give people with regards to planning these composites, like making sure that you don't stack too many people, or I mean, anything else that comes to mind when you're putting these together?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've definitely learned a lot of stuff from other people. A lot of these ideas aren't mine, and sadly, I'm missing some references as to who has told me some of this stuff. But I think Pi Jirsa um, did an article about how to maximize your group shots and how to
Uh-huh.
make good time. And he mentioned our composites, but then he also, I've heard people say like these are really good with rowdy bridal parties. Um, if your guys have been drinking too much or it's just a rowdy group. Rowdy is fun during crazy dancing at like 10 o'clock, but at 4
Yeah.
o'clock when you have like a half hour, rowdy is not fun. So this is actually nice. Like for this shot, I'm photographing the people from right to left across our screen, and these people over here are talking. Like I'm telling them not to move, but they're just talking and yucking it up and having a good time. They don't really know what's going on. They've never seen this. But
Yeah.
this helped in this photo. We had like 15 minutes. This museum was closing. I mean, This isn't a groundbreaking photo. But my other option was just shoot this like really crappy overhead lighting and make it look like everyone else's photo. So we gave this a shot. And yeah, the only other thing I would say is you want to leave a little bit of space in between your groups for variance. So when groups overlap, like in here, this is not ideal. But sometimes the people move and you can't do it. So I've even like shifted whole people. Usually my floors are dark, so I've even like grabbed whole groups and moved them left and right to increase like the symmetry of the photo. So if you're looking
Yeah.
for like true photojournalistic validity, it's not this style. This is like creating a piece of art that really doesn't exist in real life. So yeah,
Yeah.
those might be my couple tips for sure.
No, and I think what else is cool about this is, in fact, Justin Haugen pointed this out. He said the best part is that you can get big time results. In his words, he says big time results with measly speed lights, which is so true. And then the other thing is, you don't have to worry about like shadows from one person casting on another person because
Yeah,
you're going to shoot each person separately. And so you can, I never thought about that, but you make a great point with regards to the people talking too, because sometimes you get those groups where you just can't get, 2 or 3 groomsmen to just be quiet and
yeah,
smile or look serious. It's like, and so by just hitting them one at a time, you can be like, all right, dude, I just need 2 seconds of your time
yeah,
for one
yeah.
flash to go off. And that's all I need. Just be serious for just a second. Or, that's a great point. I love that.
Yeah, I think we've all been out there. I mean, like I said, we do a lot of winter weddings now, and we were out. It was like 7 degrees outside, yet they still like are the girls are shaking and frantically speaking, and so my standard shot you might very well have been a disaster when if people aren't looking or talking. But obviously for this, we can just slow down and do 2 groups at a time, and they're usually pretty receptive.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No,
yeah,
that's,
these are
that's great.
fun.
What, do you normally just use one grid?
Yeah, just one grid. I've never stacked them, and
Hmm.
sometimes we use gels, like the gel shot here below. We definitely use gels, but just one. And like I said, normally like a 45 top down angle on the folks.
Yeah.
Obviously it's nice portrait lighting, so yeah, for
It's
sure.
awesome. So Seth, you just brought up that gel shot below, and this happens to be one of my favorite, like seriously, all-time photographs of a groom. I just love everything about this shot. And I mean, this guy, one, he looks like a model, but two, the way the color and the light and everything else, you got to tell us about this one because I'm actually super interested in wanting to do
Yes.
this. I don't know if I'll ever have the wizard powers that you have, but tell us about this one.
So this guy, it does look like a model. My wife was very excited. This is Zach and his wife Katie. She's
Your
absolutely
wife was
gorgeous
excited.
too. Yeah. So my wife was excited when he was getting ready. I mean, he's chiseled and ripped and awesome. So I mean, it's not half bad that he looks like this. So once I was able to use the grid to start controlling light, I tell some of the people who ask about these photos, this is an office room. Like behind him is terrible. It would take me a couple minutes to fire up the Lightroom gallery, but if you saw the original room, I mean, it's just awful. It's like can lighting in an office. There's a table behind him. It's really just. But I knew controlling the light, darkening down the room, that I could get something like this. So this photo for us was again, I don't know if like a 25-year-old bride is gonna like flock to this photo, but I'm looking to maybe get some of the grooms flocking to us as well.
Yeah.
And so this photo was sort of a mastermind. I'm trying to think, like, when Jerry Seinfeld wakes up in the middle of the night and scribbles stuff, like this was one of those moments. I did put like a scribble pad near me. I woke up in the middle of the night and thought about this. The
Yeah.
idea, a majority of people think this is a photo. Obviously, it looks very, very photoshopped. And the goal I had with this photo was, it's not, well, Photoshop was used to lighten and darken things, but this is one single shutter click. This is one click of a button. It's not a in-camera double exposure. It's not a real double exposure, which I've also done that. Like, not the idea of using the idea of double exposures in this world. It's not people use, especially Canon users, where you can line up two photos. That's not really, that in-camera double exposure is not a true double exposure, but this is a single exposure. I got this idea because I wanted to submit something rad to fearless photographers, and they don't accept double exposures. So I said, okay, what is the coolest thing I can?
Oh.
Yeah. So what was the coolest thing I could do with one shutter click? So
Wow.
he's simply just sitting. He's just sitting in the middle of a room, and I have Beth on one side and our assistant on the other, just outside the camera. And so it's a lot of talk setting this up. We got it in about 3 shots, but regardless, I'll get down to the nitty gritty, guys. So I have my camera on a tripod, and I have it so it can spin, it can rotate, and I have a 35 mil lens. Okay, so when I rotate it all the way one direction, it puts the right image on the one side of the photo, and then I made sure that my rotation was restricted to keep him in one frame, I guess, kind of.
Yeah.
Like
No, that
one
makes
frame.
sense.
So the lights are completely out. We had to put a towel on the door so like no lights fed in. And actually, the little red dot on my flash always bothers me because I can see those in some of these shots, like if you go behind them. But regardless, so we used a trigger to suppress the shutter and keep it open. It's like a 59-second exposure. And
Wow.
during those 59 seconds, I would turn the camera one direction and we'd pop a flash on the groom. We started on the right side with a blue gel. So it's a mag grid and a mag gel. And we used blue to highlight him, like put a flash of light on him. And I sort of knew in my mind that the camera is only going to see what I let it see. This was like one of these remarkable breakthroughs for me. And it came through the idea that I was doing tintype photography with like a Civil War lens. And then you start to realize that, like, without light in a completely dark room, you can open your shutter and you'll get nothing at all until you bounce light. So basically, we're using our flashes to bounce light off of this groom and then fire it into my sensor. But if the sensor stays open, I can maneuver it around and keep feeding it light from different locations. So that's what this is. So as we take the first shot with the blue gel, I just slightly turn the camera like a millimeter, and then we slap on a red gel and then manually fire it again to get the second image from the right. So it's this image right here. So we've now panned through 2. I put him in the middle, and I have like a little tick dial on my on the tripod, so I can kind of see that he's in the middle. We remove the gels and just fire one shot where he's looking at me, and I'm telling him, like, now look to your right. And I turn the camera even more, and my assistant fires 2 more with colored gels. And so it's a total of 5 flash pops in a 60-second shutter in a completely dark room. So just trying to explain it. I know it's kind of blowing
No,
their
no, no.
mind. Like
I think you explained a great job. I mean, I think you did a great job explaining. I think people understand what you're saying there, and you're right. It does sound like a very complicated process, but at the same time, it could be something done so simply as well. Like you said, you don't need to do all these different multiple exposures and layering and Photoshop and all this stuff. That you can literally do it in camera. You know, and I gotta ask, as far as Fearless go, did you win the award? Did you win?
no, no. They have a lot of stipulations, and like I think a judge would look at this. Number one, might not believe it, but number two, what is it lacking? It's lacking emotion, or it's lacking a
Oh,
special
dude,
moment. So no, I
but it's
haven't.
full of wizardry.
I
So
haven't done it yet, but that's okay. I mean, it was fun to do, and I hope to do it in the future. And obviously, they loved it, and it looks really rad, very American-like, like
yeah.
red, white, and blue.
Did
So
did have you done anything like this? Not that we need to see photos. I'm just curious. Has the
I
process inspired you to do anything else in these more recent weddings, kind of like
this
this?
was this was last summer, and this took us like 20 minutes to do. So I haven't
Gotcha.
had as much time. And I tried it once before, and it failed. It failed. It just wasn't as cool. So you
Yeah,
have to have a completely black background, so when the light does come out of the flash, it doesn't hit
for sure.
anything behind them and light it
Yeah,
up. So I have had some failures. I mean, it's really like the perfect situation to get this. So, but I'm sure
yeah,
we'll do something
yeah.
cool with this in the future. So like yeah, so long shutter, I think long shutter exposures is like our new venture. Like I want to take photos of people in different rooms. I've done that, but I want to use flash to say, give me a photo of him in this room and a photo of her in another room and mix them in the same photo with a long. So I've done that before, and I'm trying to expand on that just because it's fun to do.
That's
So
cool, man.
yeah,
That's really exciting.
yeah, yeah.
Um, we had a question. Shelly had asked, did the groom move or just the camera? And I think we heard just both of them actually. So the groom
Yeah,
turned to the left or to the right. The camera moved as well.
right. So
Um,
yeah, he just turned his face. I don't know why I did that. I just some people might think this
dude,
is
I
creepy
think.
or cool, but
Oh,
but
I think
yeah.
it worked so well.
Yeah, so both are a little bit moving, but it's a tripoded camera, and I'm talking like just a hair turn. I'm not even just enough to
Yeah.
get them in a 35 mil frame. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And then Casey says, what an amazing concept on this one, Seth. Absolutely rad. So,
wow, great.
um,
But I want to see other people try it. So
awesome. Awesome. Hey, Ricky Serrano, I missed a question. He had a question regarding one of the group shots. So maybe if you wouldn't mind, Seth, maybe later today or tonight or tomorrow, if
sure.
you wouldn't mind checking out the thread of this video, and just maybe responding to that. It looks like he has a question about focusing. Um, that would be awesome. So guys, if you have some of these questions, if we don't cover them in the video, we'll check out the thread and make sure that we can answer any of those questions throughout the next few days. So with that though, Seth, let's check out some more of your other photos. What else do you
Yeah,
have there that you can show us?
like it's funny. I use the grids. I use the grids a lot. This isn't a masterful photo, but for me, it's different from something that I've ever seen, or at
Mhm.
least photographers I've seen. I just love that we were up in a Hilton and we were up in this high skyline. And so normally, if I tried to take this picture, it'd be completely blown out.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the sky, the buildings, it would just look like a really crappy bathroom. And so I just always loved this photo because I actually had the flower girl helping us with. So now she's gridding it out, and here we are taking the photo. So I love this stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, again, I haven't used. I'm excited to use more of the products. I don't do a ton of on-camera flash, but I'm noticing that the sphere. I'm really excited to use those here coming up. But yeah,
You
so
know,
like go ahead,
Oh,
Trent.
I was gonna say, what's cool about the shot you did with the little flower girl helping you out there, is it makes you so personable, where everybody in the wedding party, everybody in the group that sees that, they're like, this photographer's cool. He's not just doing his own thing and catching stuff, but he's actually involving people, and you can tell how happy she is. She feels like she's helping out, and I love when you do stuff like this and you show them, you say, look what you did. You helped me
Yeah,
get this amazing shot of this dress or whatever, and they get so excited about it. So what a cool
yeah.
way to get her
She,
involved.
she was a flower girl. Her mom was in the wedding, and I was like, I need someone to stand up on here because this is where I need my light stand.
Yeah,
I couldn't clamp it anywhere, and it's just hilarious. She was just a cute doll, and so yeah, I deliver this to my clients. I mean, it's not going in the album, but it was a moment that happened, and we're all laughing
for
about it,
sure.
and so yeah, you're right. I mean, when we can involve people, I definitely have people hold lights and help out throughout the day. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What
So let me show
you had that shot of that church. Can we go back to that church shot? Sorry, I don't mean to be jumping around here.
which one,
It was one at
Trevor?
the very top. It was the stained glass
Oh
window.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So again, you know, like because I know what my camera can see and how I can control the light with a grid or other things. You know, this was a fully lit, frankly ugly church with just completely fully lit. I mean, all the lights are on. There was not much we could do, but I swear, like the greatest tool I've had in my photography training of the last few years is to like I just squint a little bit. Like I look at
Yeah.
scenes, I squint my eyes, and I can see what would otherwise be like blown out sort of parts of a frame. So I sort of squint down, the room goes dark, and I see that I have some symmetry. So Beth is behind the bride. I might have photoshopped her arm out right here, but she just has a grid, and people have asked me, how do you get this perfect sphere of light behind? Well, it's not a sphere, but a circle of light behind it. And I
Yeah.
said, yeah, it's just a grid. You know, this couple, I love them to death. Like they weren't all lovey-dovey and touchy feely, and so I can portray them in a loving, you know, loving angle like this with a silhouette, you know. So
Yeah.
if they're not all into the shot in their face, or they're not super duper emotional, if I silhouette them, we can get the idea that, you know, obviously they're in love and they're having a beautiful day. So yeah, this is just I included it. Sometimes we surprise ourselves as the final product when we get home. So this is a lot of darkening down of the church and just getting this circle nice. I had to Photoshop out a little bit of junk. They are standing on pews, so it's little. They don't know what's going on when we're doing this. They're like, you know, it's so not normal from what they've expected.
Yeah.
So yeah, like this is last fall, and we're really happy with what we got. So
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I love how you mentioned the squinting thing too, because I like doing that as well. Because I'll kind of throw things out of focus a little bit. I'll squint down my eyes, I'll look through my eyelashes, and I'll just kind of throw things out of focus a little bit, where I can all of a sudden you don't get lost by the details, but you get to see the kind of the general, you know, view of the room. You know, like you said,
yeah,
the symmetry, or even just the light and the shadows and things like that, and you don't get so caught up in the details or the colors and things like, you know, that can sometimes distract you. So
yeah. I was the absolute like the worst silhouette photographer you could ever have. Like I saw these beautiful awards, and I couldn't like what am I doing wrong? And then now I'm finding that wherever I go, if I can get them up in the sky at all and just squint a little and see what would be dark and what would be light and put them in that bright spot. Like now it's like, am I delivering too many silhouettes? I'm getting so many good ones. So at least the ones that I love. So yeah, the squinting is like where to go. So for
yeah.
sure.
That's awesome. No, thanks for sharing that, Seth. Very cool.
Yeah.
What was there some other images in there
You
that
know,
you
I
pulled
just
out?
yeah, I just like I mean I just like to show some control in tight situations.
Yes.
This is in a I mean again, the bridal party, the family. This is during the reception. People have no idea what we're doing. I wish I could. Again, I probably should have put some more behind the scenes, but this is no bigger than like a large painting on a wall in a bar. So right outside the frame of this painting is a frame and then a wall, and they're standing on chairs. They're really really tight in the corner because there wasn't a lot of room. But another, um, Alicia Stewart in Canada told us this trick years ago. Like fearless photographers, they love the idea of what they call like scope, or more people in photos who are active with your subjects. So this is the idea of like if I'm going to shoot a dancing shot, I'm not going to shoot two people dancing into a DJ. I'm going to go put my back to the DJ and shoot two people dancing with everyone behind them. So we want to increase the number of folks who are interesting folks in the photo, engaging
Hmm.
folks. So I saw this and said, well, this is a really abstract, cool way to put some people in an image, and they're laughing, they're having a great time, and now I'll just put my bride and groom here, kind of like they're in this scene. And so this is just by myself behind them. You might actually be able, now that I say it, you might actually be able to see the grid like right here, like or maybe that's his jacket. But regardless, this is just by myself shooting a Friday afternoon wedding with a mag grid on a flash, and so I can control it. It doesn't spray all over the place, and then I can put them in this cool photo. And I really like this image, and they did too. So yeah,
So so your grid is down lower. Is it bouncing off his cheek, illuminating her? Is that what's the
yeah, a
lights?
little bit. So, yeah. This is this. I'm trying to think who. This is Jerry Giannis taught us this in many workshops I took years ago. If you stagger your bride and groom a little bit,
Exactly.
you can have the light hit him for, you know, hit him more directly and then bounce off and illuminate her face a little bit. So yeah, his nose is closest to us,
Yeah.
and yep, that's a good way to do it. So yeah, it's just down below here, and it's firing right through. So, and again, all this is it's like trial and error. I mean, it looks ridiculous. The family doesn't know what's going on, but hopefully I can get some emotion. I'm basically making fun of myself of how ridiculous this whole scene is, and yeah, so.
No,
Sure.
I think what's great about it is their reaction, their emotion, that that they're laughing and they're having a good time. If they were just like staring at each other's eyes or something, it might look a little bit kind of different. You got two different things going on, these two different emotions.
Yeah.
But I think that's what makes it so great. And then the light control there is fun too, where they're not overpowering the scene. They look like they complement the scene, where they just fit in there. And just for those who are trying to understand how this works, when the light, if you have two people looking right at each other, let's say put my hands together, then that light's going to bounce off his face and illuminate basically the painting, and she's going to be dark, and it's going to be a silhouette essentially. So if you just have him just a little bit in front, then that light's going to bounce off his face, illuminate her. And we did an episode with Dan Douster last week, and he does this a lot. And that's where I kind of learned it was from Dan. You had mentioned Jerry Jonas. I kind of learned it from Dan as well, and same type of thing. And I love that concept. And so if you guys, I mean, what a great way to use light control, but then get that emotion and stuff out of the people as well.
Yeah,
capture that.
That is the ultimate goal. I mean, I think I'm in love with fearless photographers. A lot of them are huge MagMod users. And I don't mean to keep coming back to it, but if you're in love with any award like style group, like for us, it just pushes us to do things. It just pushes us to be better. You're absolutely right. In this, without emotion, if they were just like calmly doing like a forehead to forehead resting sort of prayer look, I mean, it wouldn't work. The goal is to create like these masterful photos, and then you get that emotion at the end. So that's sort of our new goal. And I'm sad when I get home, and if I have a beautiful photo that's lacking emotion, it sort of falls short in our criteria of being what we think is really good. So, but we just keep trying, of course. So, but yeah, you're right. We got to have that emotion.
That's awesome, man. I love it. Absolutely love it. I couldn't tell. Did we go through the whole folder there? I know we talked about some of those.
Yeah. Composites. This is similar.
Oh yeah. How about that light one there?
Similar to the church. Yeah. Again, this is a completely fully lit hotel. Yeah, I was like struggling to come up with anything. It's raining outside. I promise. We don't promise. We sort of say, hey guys, let's go out and do something rad at night, and then we're just left with a dingy parking lot. And so the squint test showed me that I could turn this room down and get all these symmetrical lights. I'm certainly not the first person to do a photo like this. I'm sure you can find one that looks exactly like mine, but it's something like this. And they're off. It's a wider hallway, so they're off the wall, maybe about 7-8 feet. And Beth, my wife, has always squatted down back behind there with a grid. And this one splashed a little more light around a little bit. Not as nice as that church shot, or maybe I just didn't edit it as nicely, but. So we grid this, and then again, we got to get some action in our silhouette. So we got to get something more than just two people holding and looking like one blob. So we hang the hands, or if we can get her playing with the dress or getting any movement, we can get some more action in the look. But yeah, this is really fun. I mean, the couple has no idea this is coming. So when you show this to them, they don't see the same world that we see. So when you show them this photo in the back of the camera afterwards, they're just like jaw on the floor, and it's a great way to wrap up our night. Sometimes these nights can drag out, and so we take this and say, all right, guys, like it's so great, we think we have everything, and so it's a great way to wrap up. But yeah.
Just so I can understand correctly, this was those little lights, the yellow lights. That's the lights like in between the doors of the hotel rooms. Is that right?
Yeah. So this is right. So in post. Go ahead.
Well, I would say they're on the outside of the hotel. In other words.
No, I'm sorry. This is the lobby of the hotel. So it's one of those empty lobbies, and you can see all the rooms from the inside. So gotcha. No, not out. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, Trevor. Yeah, this is from the inside. So I'm just around. I'm on the same plane as they are. Just there's rooms behind my back, and I'm all the way over on the other side of the hotel. I mean, really, we had to be on cell phones just to talk because it was way too loud. Yeah, so this is inside, and obviously it's fully lit like any hotel would be, so you can see what normal people can see what's going on. But for our eyes and for our camera, we can notice that if I turned all these down, these hot spots would be the only thing shining through. So there's a little editing in post, and I'm definitely taking a brush brushing down some of this darkness to get rid of these ugly
Mm-hmm.
rooms. And then I'm also taking a little bit of brush, adding some saturation color boost, and making these lights sort of the same. Yeah. So
But
yeah, this is inside. Go ahead.
well, I'd say this would make for a great piece of artwork, like somebody's house, because it has that cool look that you could put in your home, but it's not like us smiling looking at the camera. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it has this kind of avant-garde like artwork where somebody looks at it and they're like, "Oh, that's a cool piece of art. Holy crap, that's you guys right there.
Yeah.
That's your
Yeah.
wedding
For
day."
sure.
So
Yeah, I mean, the more and more the more and more we do weddings, the less and less we get people actually looking at us. Like, it's like our goal is to have like one look at me photo and the rest never look at us. So yeah, like you're right. Like we take these photos, we want these to be these epic photos that they put on their mantle and the real showstoppers. When their friends walk in their home, they're like, "Who is that photographer?" So yeah, yeah,
that's so
it
cool.
was fun. Yeah, for sure. Great couple.
That's awesome. Well, Seth, why don't you go ahead and stop sharing your screen so you can bring your, we want to see your beard again.
Right now, that might be. Oh, here we go. Yes, beautiful.
Yeah,
Ah.
that's pretty, there you are. So,
Mhm.
so, well, Seth, hey, I just want to thank you so much, man. Thanks for taking this time. And like I said, I love these conversations because I feel like I get to learn so much from other photographers. And this was yet another one of those where, you are the composite king, in my eyes, at least. I know you might not feel that way. You've been very humble during this conversation, but in my eyes, you are. And so I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing that and sharing your setup and your raw photos and that kind of stuff so people can see that.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me. I'd be remiss if I left out some of my favorite MagMod friends. Jamie Evans out of Boston does some
Uh,
composite work, and we sort of talk each other up because we both inspire each other. So yeah, the
yeah.
MagMod community's been really, really inspiring. It's funny, without it, I wouldn't know all of these wonderful people doing all these wonderful shots and inspiring me to do more stuff. So yeah, I can't thank you guys enough for having me, being a part of the community and just the awesome product. I can't wait for what else you guys are going to come up with and what I can do with it. And like I said, learning from other people, it's just it's awesome. So thanks so much.
Yeah. No, we really do appreciate it. I think Gina says it best here in her last comment. She says, "Great stuff and inspiring live chat." So it
Nice,
definitely was
great.
inspiring. So we appreciate it, Seth. Thanks for coming on. Are you you don't have any like workshops or anything coming up or anything like that,
No,
right?
no workshops.
Okay.
No workshops this year. My wife's a teacher, so our weekends are filled with our children. So, but yeah, no, I'm definitely available to if anyone wants to speak online. I'd love to hear about some ideas you might have. Yeah, these are always flying through my head. What kind of rad photos we can come up with, and if anyone has ideas or want to talk it out, I'd be open to discussing. But yeah, no
Awesome.
workshops, but hopefully we'll have some in the future. So.
Hey, Seth, I can't let you go until without talking about. You said your children. You have I'm sure both your kids are cute, but you have the cutest little son. And
Yeah.
for those who are basketball fans or Cleveland Cavalier fans, they've probably seen your son and might not even recognize or know that he's your son.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a beard like you, so.
Not yet, but they want one.
But tell everyone real quick, your son Gio, he's always like at the Cleveland Cavalier games, like they use him in like on the big screen and stuff, right?
So just real shortly, like I've been a huge Cavs fan my whole life, even when the teams were bad, So it looks like we're front runners now, but I was like, I've been a runner for the Cavs since 1984, and
Nice.
my kids have fallen in love with it because we watch every game, and the Cavaliers called for like promo videos, and I knew like most people would just shoot a cell phone. So like 2 years ago, when my kid was 4, we did like a little ditty in our studio of just him like dribbling and talking about the team and what he loves. And it's all cute. And it escalated like we do one like every single year now. And so the Beats by Dre, the headphones company, reached out to us in December. They contacted the Cavs and said we need a super fan. And so I ended up shooting a Beats commercial in like my studio right over here, and I edited it. They asked for footage. I just edited it, gave it to them, and they said we
So
love
rad,
it.
dude.
And so like I did a Beats commercial with my son, and it sort of mirrors the LeBron beat commercial. And yeah, so people ask me like how we'll go to a game. They're like, how was the game last night? I was like, well, my 6-year-old was dressed in a mascot costume, firing a mini T-shirt gun at halftime, like on at midcourt. So like that, these are our Cavs experiences now. So I
Oh
tell my
man.
kid, I never thought in a million years, like I met one player in like 1989 at like a Walmart, and this guy's like he's met every player and I have the mascot's number in my phone. Like, so like he's
Yeah.
very, very, we try to instill that he's very, very lucky to be in love with the team and be so involved. So
That is so rad. Well, we'll have to definitely, if you wouldn't mind, you got to share the videos. The of Geo, right? Is your son's
yeah,
name
Gio,
Geo?
yeah,
You got to
yeah,
share those videos in the thread for people to check out because, guys, if you
sure,
haven't seen these yet, you've got to watch them. They're hilarious. I shouldn't say hilarious. They're inspiring, actually.
yeah,
Like this little
yeah.
kid, he's like, like he motivates me. It's like kid president or whatever,
That sounds, yeah. I never knew I could like look up so much to your own little 6-year-old. You know, you could like, it's
Yeah,
just, yeah, it is motivating. And I tell you what, I mean, I'm not some sort of filmmaker. I just have a DSLR, so
yeah,
it's like I swear I tell people, it's like if you want to do something, just like your cameras, just go do something. You want to make a commercial with your kid, or you love something, or you love something about them, just go do it. And the next thing you
yeah,
know, like Beats is reaching out to me, and then we're doing
yeah.
commercials. So I don't know what's next, but yeah, it's been
That's
fun.
rad,
So
man. Seth, I think what your son picked up from you, and that you and your wife have taught him is just passion. You got to be passionate about things, and
yeah,
so find that passion, and then just really run with it. And
go
when you
for it.
do
Yeah,
that, you're bound to open all kinds of doors. So
yeah. So maybe that's the takeaway, Trevor. Take your DSLR and go film your kids right now with it, and you'll be happy a year later you did it. So
I got too many.
you do, yeah, you do.
So, hey, Seth, with that, man, thank you again. Thanks for taking the time for joining us here in the MagMod community, and we really appreciate you.